Okay, let's get back to... Oh, shit. Hold on a minute. Okay, this is going to be a bit wild because I am a moron.
What happened?
Well, recording just went bye-bye.
Did you deleted the recording?
Apparently, when I just decided to pause this, I didn't I didn't press the pause button again. So
Oh
I was
shit.
dumb.
Oh shit. Um.
So essentially, let us fire off. Sorry, folks, due to some unforeseen nonsense that I thought I was gonna take care of right away. Let's just say this real quick here. Hi, folks. This is Serpentine 451. Hi, Jay. How you doing?
Yep. Okay. Cool. We'll just lightning round it. We can't do as in depth as we
That's
just did.
that was just trying my prompting to get you to do.
Oh. All right. Got it.
Because I'm currently recording this right now, Jay.
Oh, my bad. Usually you count off. Shit. So yeah. Technical issues. We lost an entire recording.
A
So
good
we're not gonna.
40 odd minutes of us spouting off reviews. So this will
Yeah.
be
So
incredibly short by comparison, but still relatively long in the grand scheme of things. So Kaguya-sama, yeah, solid.
yeah.
Everything was
Great.
great. Good.
Really funny. Continues like the same pace as last time. Even funnier, I would even say. Pretty great shenanigans. Happy birthday, Shirogane. Good for you.
Good on you, fam. Kaguya, Aho girl, great.
Yeah, hilarious.
Yes, very
Hilarious.
funny. Chica, still the same airhead bitch, but still we love her.
Yep. Yeah.
Hayasaka is top tier waifu. Let's just say that.
Very, very underrated. Like you gotta look out for Hayasaka as a character. She's great, especially when it gets into later stuff. Definitely look forward to seeing more of her development.
Ishigami, true legend. Let's just say he is a true legend.
Yeah,
All solid. All solid.
again, his interactions with Kaguya are just absolutely hilarious. Love each and every time they have their little back and forth.
Yeah, very funny. And OP and ED, okay, still carries that same energy. Still very Bond-esque in that way when it comes to the music. Still wonderful. Not as great as the first OP, but still very solid. But
It's gonna
sadly,
be
no
hard to
Chica
top that
dance.
first OP anyway. So I don't blame you.
Also, check out Studio Yukari's English cover of that song. It is very solid. Let's go to My Life as a Villainess. All Routes Lead to Doom. Episode 3. Very solid. Very good.
Yeah,
A
very,
good
very
adaptation.
relatable. I love the relationship between Sophia and Katarina. Nicole is a pretty solid husbando candidate.
Yes. Very solid. Very solid. Great adaptation of this whole introductory arc to all the characters when they were just in their chibi forms. I went on in the previous recording. I went on a tirade about Join the Pack Satan Academy's weird ass adaptation practices that pissed me off, and I kind of discontinued those sets of reviews because I just did not want to bother with all of those, even though I love the source material because I think it's very funny.
Uh,
But
and the time skip is really solid. A lot of funny interactions. You really get to see how their childhood relationships have evolved into the current ones they have now at the start of the actual event of the game.
very solid, very enjoyable, and foreshadowing that started off at much later in the story and was transplanted here that was not intrusive in the adaptation's flow.
Hmm.
Tower of God, episode 3, very good episode.
Yeah, really cool.
Very fast
Great,
backstory from what.
yeah, very much like what Tony had mentioned with My Life as a Villainess. They kind of not necessarily fast forwarded, but they quickly dropped a lot of Kuhn's backstory in this beginning, rather than feeding it to you over the course of time, which, is fine. It still flowed well into the story. It helps you get a better understanding of Kuhn's character. We get to see the crown game, the bonus test, and Lizard Girl be awesome with her fucking whip sword.
Yeah.
And, little hints at the world building with the, different high-powered weapons.
Yep. And how Rock is a genius because he used his instinct to open a door.
Yep.
All praise our great alligator man. But then
Rock the genius, man. You gotta respect Rock the genius.
And then we went on a tirade with Digimon and a bit of nostalgia because of the reboot and how serviceable
it was. It's a really solid reboot. I'm enjoying it a lot. It has stuff. It has a little something for everybody. New fans who missed the wave back in the '90s will enjoy it,
or weren't even born in the '90s.
Yeah, and then older fans who were a part of Digimania, they will definitely enjoy this. It's they don't just copy and paste the original arc. It's an adaptation of the first Digimon movie, which I think is a really cool way to go about introducing these characters and giving us an interesting introduction to the digital world and that whole thing. So I think if you're a Digimon fan, or if you've ever wanted to get into Digimon, this is definitely the time to do it.
Yep, very solid. And then Glipnir, we meet Yandere Bitch, Suichi, and Claire's relationship gets more intensified when Yandere Bitch decides to say, hey, someone else is inside you.
No one else is allowed inside you. Whoever they are, they're filthy and disgusting and need to be eliminated. And she straight up decapitates the doggo suit.
Yeah, and it's terrifying. And we don't want to be messing with that bitch. But I'm excited to see what that cliffhanger leads to. It's going to be some wild nonsense. But let us get to because we had a bit of a soapbox discussion when it came to nostalgia and Digimon, but let's talk about something that is more in tune with something we reviewed previously on the show. That being Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai's movie, Rascal Does Not Dream of a Dream Girl.
Yep, which is volume 6 of the series, and if you guys are keeping track. Because the first 5 were the first season of the anime.
And this movie, when it had a 420 drop.
Yeah, oh my god. Okay, so first off, thank you Funimation for providing us with the goods, because the theatrical release was shut down for world reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you, Funimation. We appreciate you.
Yeah, even though it was a surprise drop for some of us.
I wish it was advertised more. Thank you, Jordan, for providing that time with the article telling us it was happening.
Yeah.
And also, spoiler alert to anyone who hasn't seen this movie, because seriously, y'all, shit happened in here that I would not want to ruin for anybody. So, if you haven't seen the movie, do yourself a favor. If you watched Bunny Girl Senpai and enjoyed it, go find a way to watch this movie.
Yeah.
This is not a movie you can watch if you haven't seen the anime, because it's really dependent on you being emotionally invested in these character relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So, you really need to have watched the anime in order to properly enjoy it. But if you have, you definitely need to watch it.
I mean, it's also a very solid movie in its own way. So, you can tangentially enjoy it if you can, pick up on cues of character relationships and whatnot.
But it won't emotionally wreck you the way that it emotionally wrecked the three of us.
Truth. It is very true. So, let us begin with a little bit of how Bunny Girl Senpai handles characters. Each of the individual volumes, like Jay said, focuses on one girl at a time. And Volume 6's focus girl is a girl named Shoko.
Yep, Shoko Makinahara, who is a character that we have seen since the very beginning of the series. She is Sakuta's first crush, and the girl that is basically the impetus of the entire series, and this movie slash particular novel explains why Shoko is the way she is, why Shoko appears the way she does, and it really ties everything together. Because yes, Shoko is Sakuta's first crush because they met around the same time where Kaide triggered her puberty syndrome, and Shoko was really sad and down on himself about it, and Shoko was able to help pick him up and you know get him to where he needs to be, where he's the person that he is now. She's very responsible for like the formation of his current character, and but she'll always be important to him. But for some reason, at a certain point in season 1 of the anime, he ends up running into, along with Mai, a middle school girl with the exact same name and very similar appearance to Shoko Makinahara. And it's pretty confusing because, Sakata is the only one who's seen this older Shoko, so we don't even know if older Shoko actually exists because Shoko is an only child. She said that multiple times. She doesn't have any relatives that look like her. So, we know that it's likely a puberty syndrome, but we don't know what exactly this puberty syndrome is throughout the entirety of season 1 of the anime, and the first 5 novels of the series. But in this particular movie, we get the full-on explanation of it.
Yep, and with this movie, with each of the individual volumes and the instances of puberty syndrome, they focus a lot on scientific themes, like scientific theories and concepts.
Yeah, it's a really interesting. The series itself is really interesting because it's a blend of science fiction and real life psychological and sociological issues. Which, as someone who went to school for psychology, I was really enamored by how well they used some of these metaphors to really, deeply and properly portray some of these issues, like, inferiority complexes, the whole, like, feeling invisible and, wanting attention, wanting to be seen, feeling left out and depressed. Of course, self-mutilation, really, really deep and complex issues that you deal with growing up. They handle it very well with these different devices of these, almost sci-fi supernatural elements that are like applied to the puberty syndromes.
Mm-hmm. And with Shoka's in particular, because we're primarily focused on her for this entire movie, we get to really explore her as a character.
Yeah, so within context of the series, right, there are portions of the series where Shoko doesn't actually show up to help take care of the cats, and we're wondering why. And the only time we get any kind of semi-explanation is Shoko calls Sakata and is like, well, sorry I haven't shown up in a couple of days. I'm just not feeling well, and I'll show up again when I start feeling better. And so it's like, oh, okay, Shoko was sick. No big deal. And then you find out she's not just sick. She's got a genetic heart condition. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, oh, shit.
And she, as a little girl in grade school, she is very hesitant to write what her future is going to be like because of said heart condition. So her puberty syndrome activates and it causes a string theory-esque effect where a future version of herself appears, and this is the same Shoko that becomes the first crush of Sakata.
And it's actually pretty interesting because they actually utilize time travel really well, and not to a point where it gets all that confusing. Because if you look at it within context, Shoko only shows up in older Shoko only shows up in moments where Sakata is in great distress and pivotal moments in Sakata's life. And once you get the full picture of this movie, you realize that Shoko shows up, travels to these particular points in time so that she can make sure certain events happen so that she can end up the way she is. So it makes a lot of sense.
Because for those of you who haven't seen this movie, even though I am a proponent of if you want to know something, you're just going to find out about it anyway. But I'm going to do this for the sake of everyone else's sake. The rest of this review in particular is going to be heavy. And I do mean heavy spoilers. So if you're not going to be a fan of that, get the fuck out of the room now.
Yep. Okay. So yeah, when we actually find out about the heart condition and we see older Shoko again for maybe the second time out of the entire series, other than when she shows up after Kaidi gets her memories back, we see that she had a scar on her chest. So we see that, okay, this Shoko makes it. She survives somehow. Great. She gets the transplant. And then it's just like, wait, but whose heart is it? And then, we get the first bomb drop.
But before we get to all that, Jay, let's actually talk about the whole thing that younger Shoko wants.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Actually, she wants to graduate middle school, graduate high school, fall in love with somebody, get married while she's in college.
Yep, get married in college just like their parents.
Mm-hmm.
Have kids, have that life.
Yeah, and so Sakata, although begrudgingly agrees to go on a date with her, much to my chagrin.
Yep, and that's just another thing that I love about Bunny Girl Senpai in general. The relationship between Mai and Sakata is very, very real.
It's genuine, and I like that. And
I have dated so many girls like Mai, and honestly, that is probably my type. The kind that can tease you right back. And it's especially because I feel like I am just equally as sarcastic as Sakata. So, I've related to him very much.
Yeah.
So, ever since seeing the anime.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, in some way I can relate to this guy too.
But yeah, he does help her out because, Shoko's his friend and he wants Shoko to be happy. And if this is what will make Shoko happy, that's just the kind of guy Sakata is. He'll help his friends out.
This is how we find out about the scar, is because she was wearing a wedding dress when they were visiting a seaside chapel.
Yep.
And the greatest moments where we get the revelation that, hey, I had a heart transplant, but in the way that some things are, discovered are very subtle.
Yeah.
When you get Sakata grabbing a donor card, which turns out to be a small hint that he, at some point in time, because this is the spoiler stuff we're getting into, folks, that his heart is the
inside.
One. Little Shoko, when she has a episode that throws her in the ICU. And the reason why he has those scars is because of that same heart thing. Because due to some form of string theory, something that exists in...
Yeah, I believe Futaba referred to it as quantum entanglement, right?
Yeah, it's one of those.
These two particular people are their destinies are basically intertwined.
Because the heart that's in the older Shoko that time traveled is Sakata's heart in the timeline where he passes from a car accident.
Yep.
And the heart that he has are conflicting.
Yep.
So that's why he has bleeding scars every time he's around Shoko. Because two of the same heart exist in the same time period.
And so they contradict each other, and so that's why it causes him all that pain. And so it's kind of throughout this first quarter of the movie, it's sort of like a Sophie's choice, because Shoko's I don't want to die. I want to live with Mai and my friends, and I want to have a future, but I don't want to just doom Shoko either. Because
Yeah,
Shoko's
Sakata's
also my friend, and
yeah,
I
Sakata
definitely
be
I want
like
to see
that,
this
fam.
little girl be happy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But then you have Mai's like really emotional moment where she says,
Oh my god, yeah. The part at the train station.
"Oh
Oh,
God," like she says, "You gotta stay with me. I can't live my life without you. You promised me that
you,
you will stay
you,
by my side. There is
you would
no way in
never
hell
leave
I'm
my
gonna let
side.
you die."
Yeah, I'm not going to let you die. You're not going to die on me. You hear me? You're going to live. And I'm just like, oh no.
Oh,
Oh,
be
oh
still
my
my
heart.
heart. And then you get the moment where Sakata is like just roaming the
Yeah,
snowy
basically.
area because this all takes place around Christmas. And it's
Yep. Because of course it does.
because
Yeah,
that's the
because
central
like you know
focus here.
because the first season of the anime ends at the end of November. So this movie starts in the beginning of December, and over the course of the movie is the entire month of December into the early January. So yeah.
Hmm. And with
Um,
this in particular, it gets because you can say that this is this could be a Christmas movie, but it's a fucked up Christmas movie.
it's a real fucked up Christmas movie. So, like, Sonic is really excited because if you know anything about Japanese culture, Christmas time especially is a big time for couples and sharing a cake and whatnot. And so this is Maya Socrates' first girlfriend, so he's really excited. He's like, why don't we share a cake? Go to the tree lighting ceremony and stuff like that. She's like, no, how about we go to the aquarium or something? It's just like, okay,
She's
cool.
like, but I also have work, so.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
So
okay,
they decide to.
They
Yeah, so
go
they
see
decide to go to the
jellyfish and
aquarium.
whatnot, but then you get the whole scene in the train station where she just wants to like run away as far as she possibly can with him, so that moment doesn't come.
Which is a really really nice callback because when we first were dealing with Maya's puberty syndrome in the beginning of season 1 of the anime, in order to prevent Mai from being forgotten, Sakata and Mai hopped on a train and were like sort of trying to get far, far away so that they could find people that would still remember Mai. So like Mai has that same idea. So maybe if they run, they can keep Sakata from getting in that accident.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that that's like just a nice callback, and this is Sakata has helped Mai through so much, not just with herself, but with her sister and her mother as well.
Mm-hmm.
So like
And
she
then
really wants to help him.
yeah, and then you have the moment where they want to see a certain skylight thing, both Shoko
Mm-hmm.
and Mai. And Sakata puts two and two together while he was out and about in the snow walking around. And this intersects with a moment where he was supposed to die.
Yep.
Because Shoko gave a specific time to meet somewhere, and so did Mai. But then at the moment where you think that Sakata's gonna bite the bullet,
He's about to get hit, and then all of a sudden you hear Mai, and then your heart just shatters into a bajillion pieces.
No, fam. I will tell you this. These are the actual factuals. I will not lie to you. I audibly gasped and held my hands to my face when that scene happened.
No, let me tell you, man. Let me tell you. When that scene happened, I paused. Listen, just for context, y'all, I'm in a wheelchair, I'm on crutches, so mobility isn't really my thing. But when this scene happened, I stood up, yelled, "What the fuck?" What the fuck? You can't do this to me at my screen. I paused the movie to check how much movie we had left, and I was like, "Oh, thank God, there's still a lot more movie." But damn,
I was like, "Oh my god!" And then we get into this dark timeline where Mai is dead,
dude,
and Sakata is like,
and the fact that you see a gas full of blood, so it's like it's solidified. Like, oh my god.
Oh, and then you get Sakata just roaming around. He's
dead inside.
He's just dead, and he's roaming, and he stays at Futaba's house to get away with all that. Away from the paparazzi.
The part that made me cry. The part that made me cry the first time, like that broke me, was when we see Nodaka, and Nodaka just keeps hitting him and like, why didn't you protect her? You were supposed to protect her.
I'm like,
why?
oh.
Why did she have to die? And it's just like,
Oh.
no.
I'm like,
no.
I was like, oh my god.
Oh, that hurt me.
Oh yeah, it
Me
hurt
so
my
much.
soul. And then you also get a change where Shoko appears. And apparently, the young Shoko in this particular timeline got Mai's heart.
Yep. And yeah,
Because Mai
he explains
herself is
that.
also a donor.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so, the pressed future Sakata, because this takes place a few days after the event happened.
Yeah, about 4 days.
And so he's like, I don't want to live this life anymore. I want
And
to
you know,
fix
I don't.
things. I want to save my girlfriend's life.
And then he's just like, I'm sorry, Shoko, but I have to do this. And Shoko, you know what? I will give it to Shoko. Shoko is the best, man.
Yeah, she's like, I know. And this is college age Shoko, so classic good tier waifu, where she says,
And-
yeah, I'll die
and
as a kid
she's
so
like-
you can be with your girl. I understand.
She's like, I understand. I want you to be happy. This is what I want. I want it to be a good friend. And so, like, she helps him travel back. And once again, we get an awesome callback to the beginning of the, first season of the anime.
Yeah, where he gets into a bunny suit and wants someone to notice him, and
Yeah, because according to Futaba and her whole time travel theory, when you travel back in time, you aren't able to physically interact with anything until your existence is confirmed. Which is basically what happened to Mai with her puberty syndrome.
Yep.
But it didn't have to do with time travel.
It dealt with,
so he gets into a bunny suit.
It's like, notice me!
Yeah, he's just like, notice me. He starts doing crazy shit, and of course, the person that does notice him is best Kohai that is not Mashu, Koga.
Yeah, Miss Koga, or as I like to refer to her as, butt boxer.
Oh yeah, yep.
So, butt boxer notices Sakata's existence, and future Sakata calls, well, in this case, present Sakata to tell him, hey, don't go to this place. It's like, well, why? But I want to save Shoko. I'm like, well, mine dies at this point, saving your dumbass.
So don't do it. And she goes, and then, of course, Sakata, true to character, present Sakata is like, nah, fam, I'm not just gonna let Shoko die. I'm not gonna leave her behind. And then, future Sakata is just like, do you not understand that Mai dies?
He's like, well, things happen. I will even sacrifice myself to do it. Which present Sakata was about to, but then future Sakata decides, oh, fuck this shit, gets in front of the car that's about to hit him, well, his past self.
Yeah, which I also we skipped over the part, but he also does end up, meeting up with present Mai, in the bunny suit, and he tried to tell her, like, don't meet up with Sakata. It's fine. You're gonna die. Please don't do it. I don't want you to die. And then, she has this really, really awesome monologue where she basically just like, he's like, no, Sakata, you've done so much to help me. I finally get a chance to help you and show you how much I love you.
And I was like,
Sakata. And I'm just like, oh,
fucking beautiful. That was fucking beautiful. Like, and we'll talk about this after, like, our, very fractured synopsis of this entire movie, filled with nothing but spoilers and whatnot. But
yeah,
I will say this, well, beforehand, like, this movie turned me into fucking jelly. I ain't gonna lie about it. But
for real, I was a mess.
When you get to, like, future Sakata saving his past self within the bunny suit, and
so that he can't be seen by his past self, so they're not technically interacting if he doesn't know that it's him.
Yep. So he disappears into the ether, becoming the same person, I don't know how
Yep.
that's possible, but it does.
I mean, it happened with Futaba, so I guess same principle.
I mean, yeah, I guess. But
Um,
all I'm thinking is that
but yeah,
no dark timeline happens.
yeah. But then, like, just as you start to celebrate for a second, you realize, oh shit, that means Shoko's gonna die.
Oh no, little Shoko says, well, I'm okay with that. I got to live my life through older
No,
Shoko,
and
and I got to enjoy
I love
things. And I'm like,
look, man.
oh,
This
oh
this scene
God.
hit me. This scene hit me in particular. Not to get super real, but like when I was about 8 years old, my grandfather on my mother's side suffered a really bad stroke, and he unfortunately didn't make it. And one of the last memories I have with my grandpa is in being in the hospital and saying goodbye. So whenever anime, TV, or movies does that thing where the person is about to die and you get to say your last goodbye, that shit gets me, man, and that got me, especially when they show her like her homework, and her homework is the life philosophy that she taught to Sakata. I want to be kinder than I was the day before. I want to be a good friend, and I'm just like, oh, Shoko, you did it. You did it. And then when, like, Maya's like, you gotta grade Shoko's homework. Like, I feel like you're the only one who deserves to do this. And then, he marks it up. And I'm just like, oh.
And it's just this nice, cute flower that he just draws on her homework, and I'm like, fam, don't do this to me. My heart.
Oh, that got me.
Oh, and
I started
Shoko,
crying.
like young Shoko's whole monologue about how she saw life through the eyes of her older self, and calling him
Because she was just
Sakata-kun.
about to,
And-
like, because I want to assume that happened because she was close to death, and so she got to experience like all those timelines in one.
Yeah,
Like,
and
that's
I don't know
what-
how that's possible. I don't know how she did it, but she got to go through all that monologue. She said she lived a life that made her happy, and then she dies.
And she says, "No, well, it's not just that." So she says, "Well, Sakata, I don't want to see you sad. I see that I'm causing you pain. I don't want to put you through pain. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use my puberty syndrome one last time to change things so we never met." And then I'm just like, "No! Don't do this, Shoko! What are you doing?" And so she dies, and then all of a sudden, things change. Thankfully, it didn't go the worst case scenario route Futaba was saying, where, like, technically, because older Shoko inspired you to go to the high school where you met Mai, you could possibly have still not met Mai. But apparently the event of season 1 still happened as they do. But like as Mai and Sakata are walking, they see a movie poster of a movie that Mai did, and she's like, "Yeah, it's a movie about a girl who gets a heart transplant." And she's like, "I don't know why, but I was really drawn to that role." And then Sakata's like, "I remember that one. I bawled my eyes out in the theater when I saw it." And then this is the second part that gets me. So they are walking on their way home, and they get to the iconic beach where Sakata first meets older Shoko when he was younger, and where they meet young Shoko as well. They see a little girl playing with her parents in the water, and then Sakata realizes it's Shoko.
Yep, and she survived with no bad heart, and she says, "Hello there, Sakata-kun." I'm like, fuck! Oh!
That made me cry. That made me cry.
I'm like, this series likes to pull at my heartstrings with some fresh nonsense, but I'm like, so
listen,
I'm so happy.
I watched a couple reviews, and I know some people are saying that, like, that was too much of a, like, wrapped everything up in a nice bow, made everything not have consequences. No, you know what? I'll say it. Fuck you. I need this happy ending. Let me have this happy ending.
Yeah. To those reviewers who say that and to make things a lot more logical, I mean, I get you, but with
It's anime.
With this particular anime using scientific concepts to explain supernatural abilities with some mental health problems, you can lick my taint. Let us have this happy moment from this very emotionally draining movie, you fucking pricks. Let me have my happiness endorphins before I get sad again, you sick fucks.
This movie put us through way too much. We're in trying times right now. We do not need dark timeline endings. We already live in the dark timeline. Let us have the happy.
Yeah, and for those of you who say we needed a bit more realism in this fucking anime, well, you can lick my taint, because supernatural abilities based on scientific theories and concepts that lead to, like, odd things with admittedly only girls and one dude, fuck you. Yep. You can go die in a hole.
Listen, man. I'm sorry we had to get that impassioned. Look, we need that happiness. That Shoko ending, that was what I needed. I could not end that movie on a sad note.
Like,
I don't want Shoko to die.
Part of me...
And if you wanted Shoko to die, you're a monster.
Yeah, that's a little girl you're saying, like, oh, she needs to die because she didn't get her heart transplant. Like, bitch... There are other donors that exist, so you can...
And look, I understand. Mai is objectively, like, top tier, best waifu. Nobody wants Mai to die, but still, no one should want Shoko to die. And I'm not even talking from a waifu perspective. That is an adorable little girl that has done nothing but take good care of cats and be an awesome friend to Sakata, Mai, and Kaide.
Yeah, like, we cannot let Shoko a friend... Alone. We cannot let... let's... I don't know what nonsense I'm about to say here. Take of it what you will. You can even do it because you have more of a presence on Twitter, Jay. Like, get the hashtag Let Shoko Live movement going.
Exactly. Let Shoko live. Seriously, fam.
Yeah, it's like I don't know why I would possess myself to this. I would even throw in a hashtag Let Shoko Live in the fucking tags here. I don't know what would... It's like...
Listen, we gotta let Shoko live. But bottom line, this movie was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
It adapted my personal favorite light novel of the series so far. And it did it very, very well. Man, the emotions had here were just ridiculous.
Yes, and it's like, it destroyed me.
Listen, I'm a softie, but Jordan is very much more of a reserved, put-together man. When you find that, when Jordan was like, fam, I was in tears. I was like, okay, see?
Alright, so...
I knew it.
Okay, so... Let's actually read this mess. So, the message from the 19th, when you guys watched it.
Yep.
Starting with your message saying, watching the Bunny Girl Senpai movie now, and my boy Sakata is in a messy situation. Jordan goes, oh no. Then you go, these feels are too strong, yo. He's like, it'll be okay. And then you go, my heart can't take all of these emotions. Jordan says, hold it together. And then you keep going, I'm trying, but it's so sad. This movie is making both my brain and my heart hurt. I'm not okay, y'all. And then Jordan goes, I'm almost in tears. And then you're like, right? Shit, it hits hard. I wasn't prepared for this. And then he goes, not at all. Then you got me. Well, no. It's still you saying, hopefully Tony can watch this movie in time because... I definitely think we should talk about it this week. And then Jordan goes, hopefully. And then you get to April 20th. Yesterday at 7 a.m. While I was watching the movie, by the way. I went, this movie, a lot of ellipses, did things to my soul. And then I said, like, 15 minutes after that, I wasn't ready. Then Jordan goes, I wasn't either. I was all over the emotional spectrum. I just had to hang my head in my hands and gather myself. Then I went, my heart is jelly now. It's like, my heart, it is jelly now. And then he says, and then you say, not gonna lie, they got me good.
They got me real good.
And I'm like, fam.
Real fucking good.
And that was just from our Discord anime chat, folks.
Yeah, like, oh, dude, like, just the emotional progression of this movie. You go through stages all throughout that movie. It's just like,
yeah.
No.
Like,
you get angry, you get sad, you get depressed, you start bargaining.
Yeah, you just go through the list of grief. You go through the different stages of grief with this movie.
All of them.
Like, it's kind of hard to bargain with a movie, but you try, damn it, you try.
Listen, I'm not thinking with logic here. Time.
Well, true. I don't tend to think with a lot of logic myself, Jay, but still. Regardless.
But yeah, no.
I think we I think we said our piece about the movie itself, and I think
it's an amazing movie.
It is.
I would give this a solid 8.
Well, I would do you one better. I'd say it's a solid 9.
Oh yeah? No, I wouldn't argue with that.
Yeah, and you know what? Let's keep this movie train a coming, because you know what I think we need for next week, movie-wise, that we need to review. I think we need some light-hearted humor.
Oh, yeah. Are you thinking what I think you're thinking?
Konosuba.
Hell yeah!
I'm sure Jordan wouldn't be opposed by it.
I mean, me and Jordan have already seen it, but I do not mind watching it a second time.
Cause that shit's on Crunchyroll forever. So.
Yep. Like, I understand your model of Funimation. You wanted to, still keep it like the theater-like aspect and only have it for the same run that it would have been out in theaters. So I get it. But also, side note, Funimation/Aniplex, if y'all are gonna do that with the next Heaven Shield movie, please.
That'd be nice.
Let the last Heaven Shield movie out.
Please.
I need to see it.
I want to see it too, fam. I want to see all those movies, fam. It's a need. But regardless, folks, I will say this. With our technical issues making me look like an airheaded moron, I think we just salvaged everything and made things about the same length as our previous recording. So...
And we got to gush about the Bunny Girl Senpai movie, so that's always a win.
Yep, so we actually inputted the same amount of time that we would for everything else in the reviews and make things a fucking hour-long smorgasbord of, nonsense, but still, close enough, right?
That's how it tends to be, man. That's how it tends to be. But yeah, we had fun. That's what matters.
Yep. It's always fun, because you can have us just spreading nothing but pure nonsense, or you can just have me, not on camera technically, but vocally saying, the most hilariously insulting things imaginable.
But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and we will catch you next week.
Yep, with our shows and potentially others. And of course, our in-depth review of Konosuba the movie.
The Legend of Crimson.
Yes, that. Where we have the most funny Cosma gets scarred moment in the history of this series. Yep. And it's wonderful.
You could very much say that this movie was explosive.
Yep. And and we will talk more about that movie next week.